I come to you this evening from one of the most preserved battlefields in all of the Southland during the so-called rebellion, the War of Northern Aggression, the Civil War, many names. I'm here at Malvern Hill, which is the last battle that took place during the Battle of 7 Days between June 26th and July 2nd. Now, this battle took place on July 1st. July 2nd was known as the last day of the 7 Days battle, although there was no offensives put forth from the Confederate Army towards the Union. Where I'm standing now is the Union position atop of Malvern Hill. As you can see, the ravine down there and the wooded line, and you can see how it drops off. This was one of the strongest positions throughout the entire war that the Union held. May not be the strongest, but it was one of them. It stretched over a mile long, and they had over 40 cannon here. McClellan's army, George McClellan's army, had about 70 or 80,000 men here. Robert E. Lee's army, over there behind the tree line, he probably had about 70,000 as well. But the fighting that took place here on this particular battlefield was, in my opinion, a Union victory. And after this battle, the Union Army retreated towards Harrison's Landing, which is in the south direction from here. Now, Harrison's Landing is right off of the James River and actually named after our 9th president, William Henry Harrison. Over there is known as the West House. The Confederate Army from way down yonder, over there at the bottom of the hill, seen the West House as their point of victory. If they were able to capture the West House, then they would have been the ones to win the battle. They suffered numerous casualties. Over 8,000 men died in this battle, and more than half were Confederate deaths. General D.H. Hill of the Confederate Army said this wasn't a battle, it was murder. This battle here was crucial to the defense of Richmond, Virginia, the capital of the Confederacy. Look how beautiful that is. One of the most well-preserved battlefields in the nation. Right in my backyard. Just about. Now here's a sign what consists of the 7 Days battle. On June 26th, at Chickahominy Bluff, Lee massed much of his own Confederate army at Chickahominy Bluff and surged over the river in a combined operation with Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson. Everybody knows Stonewall. Beaver Dam Creek. Later that afternoon, Lee's men struck a well-positioned piece of the Federal Army at Beaver Dam Creek. His attack failed, but Jackson's presence above the creek forced McClellan's men away overnight. On June 27th, McClellan decided to move to a new base on the James River, but his regards at Gaines' Mill barely escaped destruction when Lee's Confederate launched an all-out attack, triggering the second and largest battle of the 7 days. June 28th, Gelding Farm. McClellan organized his retreat and achieved a head start in what would become a race to the James River. Meanwhile, Lee shifted from protecting Richmond to pursuing and defeating the Union Army. A Confederate probe at Gelding Farm, south of the Chickahominy River, produced a small battle. On June 29th, Savage Station. Lee pushed his men forward against the Union Army rear at Savage Station on the Richmond and York River Railroad. The inconclusive battle there produced 1,400 casualties and temporarily slowed the progress of McClellan's retreat. June 30th. That is White Oak Swamp and Glendale, Fraser Farm. Confederate columns pursued the Union Army. A vicious battle at Glendale or Fraser Farm gave Lee his best opportunity of the campaign, but the determined resistance of McClellan's subordinates kept the line of retreat open. And finally, on July 1st, now all this took place in the year of 1862, the Battle of Malvern Hill. McClellan's army took up a strong defensive position atop Malvern Hill. Poorly coordinated Confederate attacks resulted in a decisive Union victory. And then, as I was saying earlier in the video, on July 2nd, the Confederates pursued the Northern Army to its new base at Harrison's Landing. Lee determined no offensive opportunities remained and ended his campaign to drive his foe away from Richmond, concluding the 7 days battle.